Now for perspective. Well, his mother was detained first, then his father. A doctor in Finland decided to go public about it and, recording a video, denounced China and its treatment of Uighurs. He then launched a global campaign to get more and more of the diaspora to follow his lead. The Me Too Uyghur movement was launched and stories have been flooding in since. Mr. Halmurat Harri Uyghur, thank you for joining us. And can I start simply by asking you about your own personal story? Your parents, both of them, taken into what the Chinese like to call re-education camps. Can you tell me exactly how this happened?
First of all, thank you for having me. My parents are retired civil servants. They used to work for government. For example, my mom used to work for Turpan Daily newspaper. My father was working for local administration office. You don't have any criminal backgrounds, and they were enjoying their retirements with a good amount of pensions. So you don't have any political ambitions, and to be honest, they are not practicing any religions. I don't know if they are really religious. We have never talked about all this. So China says they are the radicalized people, but my parents are not radicalized people. They are just regular people. They've been detained for nothing. I assume maybe because I live at abroad and they are well-traveled, well-educated Uyghurs, and maybe that's the one and only reason why they are being detained in those concentration camps. I can't find other reasons.
Because you spoke out publicly after they had already been detained. Have your parents, spoken to you firstly what it was like in those camps that they were held in?
Well, until recently, I cannot directly contact with my parents, although my parents being released 21st December 2018, because they are not allowed to use internet. Until recently, now they can use internet, so I can indirectly with someone else, WeChat, I can contact with them, but only few times I've been contacting with them. I don't have any chance to ask them because even the neighbors of my parents being remote and some other, possibly the civil polices are moved in. So they are under this, surveillance, both within the home and at outside. So in this case, I didn't want to make any trouble to my parents. I haven't been able to ask. So
yeah, indeed, they're outside of the camps, but not exactly free. And as you say, you did make that decision to speak out publicly about your parents being detained, which does have its risks.
It is. Me and many other Uyghur activists, even the regular Uyghurs are, they live abroad, also feel not safe with constant threats from the spies. People are stalking online as well as on the streets. I myself being threatened a few times and being followed when I'm traveling abroad. So it is really risky, and I'm afraid like each and every move every decision I made, how it will involve or impact my parents. I don't want Chinese authority, to retaliate my parents. They are kind of kidnapped by the Chinese authority, and they are graduated from re-education camps, so they are normal citizens now. Why they cannot have passports? Why they cannot come to see me and their, the daughters?
Indeed, why they don't let them leave altogether is a good question. But you talk there about quite a frightening threat and that feeling of being followed. And yet, despite that, and that is something we're hearing about from other Uyghurs around the world, a lot of people seem to have answered your call to speak out and break the silence. Tell me a bit about what they've been telling you and indeed the importance of this movement, having somehow a list of what's happening.
So far, many other Uyghur activists did many different campaigns, and I started with creating platforms and being bridge for those grassroots people to raise their personal cases. For example, with social media campaigns, they can give testimonies and let the world know that they are the regular people and they don't have any other ambitions, although they've been detained and being targeted. So first I started this freedom tour and I traveled all different countries. So far, I traveled over 20 different countries. Most of them have the Uyghur diaspora communities, and I talked to them. Their story is really heartbreaking. I cannot come one by one, but there are many stories that they are students and they were studying abroad. Then all of a sudden, their parents being detained and their economical supports being cut, their connection being cut, and their passports going to expire, and they don't know what to do. So those are the really, the immediate problems of many Uyghurs who live abroad now.
But as you mentioned there's Uyghurs all over the world. We have seen some international reaction. The European Parliament, for example, just today handing out that award to the jailed ethnic Uyghur economics professor Iman Tohi. That's one reaction, perhaps a stance from the European Parliament there. But overall, what help has the international community been given?
Well, actually, the international community can do many things. Many countries have already called out China on their human rights abuses, but China has only worsening its genocidal policies. We need countries to follow, for example, the U.S. by coming up with the laws that similar to the U.S. Uyghur Human Rights Act, which could force government to take practical steps in boycotting, investigating China, and protecting Uyghurs from deportation and securing threats by who live in those respectful countries. Especially in Europe, people who are involved with, for example, in France, Gulhumar and her family, well aware of the current situation of the Uyghurs. Those people could form some kind of coalition and start joint mission to do something in European Union or Parliament, because every country doing something on its own, it's not going to work. As European Union as a whole making decision, nobody has afraid to lose business opportunity, because China is also afraid of losing its economic ties with European countries. In this case, you don't know who they should be turning to, like they did once to the Norway. Now they are doing it to the Sweden. I think the European Union is, in general, should be more braver. They should be thinking about what they want to do and how to implement it.
Indeed, it's being brave there, speaking out and getting people to work together on that issue, which of course was the motivation for your Me Too Uyghur movement. Dr. Halmurat Harri Uyghur, thanks so much for speaking to us live from Finland and giving us your story there.
Thank you.